Hey guys, Johnny here, coming at you today with a video on audio compression and how to use it specifically in the context of YouTube videos. Now, I've already done a video on mixing your music and how to use compression in that context, and I'll leave a link for that at the end of this video if you're interested. But for now, let's just think about YouTube specifically. I think we all know we should be using compression. I don't think all of us know exactly how, though. You know, even myself, there's tweaks here and there that I keep improving. But let's just go over some of the basics, because I was having an exchange with another YouTuber yesterday, giving some feedback on some of his videos, and he clearly did not understand what compression was meant to do for him. So let's just go over some of the basics. Buckle up. Alright, so let's break it down with an example, because a lot of the times when I say, hey, you should apply compression to your signal, folks tell me, yeah, but I did apply compression, so what's wrong? And I'm like, sure, but how did you do it? Because, you know, the settings are very responsive here. It's very important for you to understand what you're doing and what you're trying to get out of it. So let's just take a look at this particular example. So for this project, I'm dealing with kind of quiet music a lot of the time, but it's really nice music and I want to bring it up. In the same way, there's some dialogue that's a little bit quiet at times. And there's also my voice, which is usually louder than either of those. And so you want to balance and bring up whatever is in that bottom of your signal. You want to pump that up, but also control the top so that both the top and the bottom meet in a way, if that makes sense. And when I say top and bottom, I mean like the low levels, low dB levels in your signal versus whatever is very high in your signal. So let's take a look at that. We got a very quiet section in here, you can see. So let's just see how that sounds without any compression. Yeah, it's some damage. It's not. So you can see there, first off, it's a little bit quiet. So we could just overall raise the levels, but then we could get some clipping, right? Because when my voice comes in or when action gets intense, then those levels could go up without any sort of control. So that's where you need dynamic control, and compression is your tool here. So what do we want? We want to say, again, keep in mind that these values are not like a golden rule of thumb. You need to tweak these for each project you're working on. So with what I said before in mind, let's see for this project what we need. And the reality is we need our threshold to be low enough so that a compression will be applied to the stuff that's in the low end of my signal as well. So if you take a look at this very quiet portion, we got levels between -15 and -21 dB, and that's why I have like -21 here. The threshold is the point above which compression is going to kick in. So anything above that level of signal will be compressed to the degree that you determine with the other settings. So it's very important to set this so that it captures whatever you're trying to compress. In this case, we do want to compress those quiet strings or whatever is sounding in the background. So that's the threshold for us. And then we have the makeup gain, which again, because we're compressing so much of our signal, almost the entirety of our signal will be pumped into the compressor here. We do want to have a high makeup gain to make up for that loss. And the loss comes from the ratio. So you might have seen, and you might think you know what it is, but this is one of those kind of, people have confused ideas about what the ratio is. The ratio is simply the amount of dB that is allowed over your threshold. So think of it as a factor, right? As a fraction. So a 4:1 ratio is a 1/4 fraction of your signal. So whatever is above the threshold in terms of dB, only 1/4 of that will be allowed, or rather the signal levels will be compressed to 1/4 of that level, if that makes sense. So I've chosen 4 because I think it's a good balance number. for this particular project, we don't have very high transients. We don't have huge peaks in our signal, so we don't need to limit the top of our signal very hard. We don't need very hard compression. 4 is going to be enough for us. But 4 does mean that we're going to be losing some of the overall volume, and so that's why I have a pretty significant makeup gain. This is just a gain boost, and this is what allows the music and the quiet sounds to come up and meet the level of my voice, which is usually higher. So let's apply this right now, and let's go back and hear what that section sounds like. Actually, let's hear it without the compressor first. Yeah, it's some damage. It's not too bad. Alright, so let's hear that with the compressor now. Yeah, it's some damage. It's not too bad. So first off, you'll notice way more volume, right? So we're way closer to where we want to be in terms of our overall volume. But also you can see that the distance between my voice and the quiet sounds has, the gap has been closed quite a bit, and that's what we were going after. You can hear the distinct sounds, the impact of the projectiles, all that kind of thing. That's what I was going for. That's what I wanted to get for this project. And again, this is the mindset you need to have. What do I want for this particular project? And then tweak your settings accordingly. And you will have to tweak these around every time. I constantly do as well myself, and there's always room for improvement. So anyways, that's it for me. I hope that was helpful. If it was, leave a like or a comment. And as always, thanks for watching. Catch you next time.